into the sunlight. We'll hide away all of our secrets, away for you in the darkness. There's no stopping us right now.
Hello everyone, it's me Amaxter. We're back with Behind the Mod Season 3, Episode 13 with Astral Sorcery's creator, HellFirePvP. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. So for those who don't know, what is your mod?
My mod is kind of magic themed. I try to it's about stars and constellations, and I try to get a bit of nighttime into modded, or that was kind of the idea.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of stuff looks really good at in daytime, but you don't see a lot of cool mods based around constellations when it comes to magic and stuff. And it's really cool to see that. So Astral Sorcery, I guess it started in 110, right?
It started actually way earlier. It was like the very first design parts were done in 1.7. And then it started did the first few fragments of it in 1.8, and then gradually, I did not do much in 1.8. I was like, oh yeah, what do I actually want to do? And most of the sky stuffs was done back then, and then I kind of moved on to 1.9, and then I moved on to 1.10, and actually got stuff done in 1.10, and it was, as you can already see on the Curse Forge page, it's been there for over a year now.
Mm-hmm.
But
and it's not, I don't think it's your first mod, but it's like your first, I guess, standalone mod, because before you made a Thaumcraft add-on, you made a mod about cakes, and you made an NEI integration thing.
There's actually a longer story about that cake thing, but I don't want to go into too much detail. It's more of a joke.
Okay.
Thing. The Thaumcraft add-on I made with a friend of mine, Makeo. We eventually, stopped developing it because 1.7 is still in the process of gradually becoming more and more unpopular. And I don't know if we want to do it in when Thaumcraft 6 hits, but might as well do that again. We will see, I guess.
Yeah. It is an exciting time for Magic mods in general right now. That's for sure. But rewinding a bit, how did you get started with modding for Minecraft? With doing that?
That is actually that's quite a long time ago. It originally started out with a friend of all the way back to how I got to Minecraft. It was a friend of mine suggested oh yeah, you want to play Minecraft on a server with me and stuff, and I was like sure. So then we started playing there. I eventually got into okay, how does this work? I learned about NBT format and stuff, and started manipulating that manually. I created spawners and stuff and those things. So nothing really, not even adventure map-ish. And then eventually moved on to, oh hey, so there's something called Bucket, which was a thing at the time. It was longer ago already. And eventually I did really, really big things with server modding, I would say. Recreated kind of Age of Empires on Spigot servers, where you could build houses, gain resources, move troops around, and stuff. I don't know, I never completely finished it. It's like 90%, and I eventually gave up after the 1.8 to like 1.7 to 1.8 port because chunk rendering changed and the whole system broke apart.
Right. A lot of things broke then.
And yeah, so that was kind of the point where I was like, okay, so I cannot do anything more more than that on the server. Let's start off with doing something on the client. And by the time I already knew Makeo, he then said like, oh hey, I'm doing this add-on for Thaumcraft, and I joined him on that. And so we developed along on this Thaumcraft add-on, Gadamancy, and yeah, he got more and more busy with university, me as well. And eventually it kind of gradually stopped, and I wanted to do something again. And that's where I thought about doing a standalone mod. It was actually Astral Sorcery didn't start out as this mod. It was originally intended to be another mod I can't really remember the name of, which was based around some sort of like shards where you would, like, whenever you craft them, you would lose a heart. Like, you would kind of imbue a heart into this item.
Mm-hmm.
And if the item gets destroyed somewhere along the process, you would permanently lose that heart until you die. Which was kind of awkward because that is not really realizable. Like, you can't really realize that because item things. And so that never came to be. And so I looked along and thought, okay, so what is not really touched upon? What is not really done? And I came across that, okay, so it's getting nighttime. Everyone goes, like, basically nighttime is not used. You would just want to make it day as soon as possible.
Right.
And so I thought, wow, that's actually a shame. And thought about something what I could use or what I could like theme it around. And since the other mod idea didn't really work out, so I tried to find something, which was then like, okay, nighttime, I could do something with stars. And yeah, eventually came up with the idea of stars, then some crystals to focus that those starish light things, magic things.
Right. Yeah, and
So
I think that's a cool idea because Minecraft nighttime is really underutilized. I mean, night in Minecraft used to be this really scary thing,
yeah.
and now it's kind of just like, oh, let's sleep in a bed so we can forget about this. Most of the time, I think,
Mm.
or you just live underground so you don't notice it. But a lot of the whole thing that you have going on with your mod, the whole constellation theme, I think is really unique. It's not like the first mod that changes the Minecraft sky. There's like stellar sky, but I think yours is the first mod that I've seen build a gameplay mechanic out of that. Like, not just try to be realistic, but do its own thing. And in
Which
this
is
case,
which is
magic.
kind of funny. At the time where I started this, the only thing that was out there for sky-ish things was Botania's Garden of Glass. And except of that, there was like a few other exceptions, like Twilight Forest had something, if I remember that correctly.
Yeah, I did have a custom skybox.
And yeah, and Stellar Sky was like, I believe from what I've seen that at the time it was in its very early stages.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, I basically have, if I do this mod, I don't think I would really have other mods that are greatly interfering with this. And now there are even mods that let you, like, I don't know, config certain skyboxes or something with JSONs and so on.
Yeah.
So so now the whole situation changed, and yeah, awkward.
Yeah, well, I ran into that personally because I had Botania Garden and Glass in my non-Skyblock mod pack because I just really like that skybox and I
Mm.
wanted to use your mod. And so I installed it and your mod did not, it kind of overrode that. And that disappointed me a little bit. So I made a comment
Mm.
and then you pointed out that you have a config option where you actually just overlay your custom sky stuff onto um,
Mhm.
non-intrusively onto another mod skybox, and that works quite well with the Botania thing. Is that a thing you decided to do later on?
Yeah, I got tons of requests because the skybox I'm doing is frequently breaking with shaders and the like. So, and even integration with other skyboxes, like there are some funny images of rendering issues flying around somewhere. And of course, then I got requests like, "Hey, can't you do something about that and whatnot?" So I thought, okay, I don't want to get rid of it all because that kind of breaks the mod itself.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just doing constellations alone seems fine. And
Yeah, and the
yeah,
nice thing about that is it's an environmental mod, and it does give you a nice effect at night, but it's also functional. Like it's called Astral Sorcery. You use magic from the sky basically, which is really a really cool idea. How has it been developing like a mod with full mechanics and its own systems?
it is quite challenging coming up with a consistent theme you want to go with, and I'm still struggling because you kind of, if you want to design lore around all of it, you kind of need to, I guess, be consistent and at least try to kind of explain something. On the magic side of things, you always have that easy option to say like, "Oh, it's magic, and that's why it works." Um, so I kind of try to stick at least to a few explanations why things are that way they are. Um, so I guess I'm still kind of struggling with untying the magic part from the realistic part, and yeah, that is, I guess, one of the challenges to get a like good concept, get a wholesome concept where you can add multiple things to it. Like Thaumcraft has this kind of alchemy system where everything is essentially built up upon from various ground elements, and
Mm.
it offers very like a variety of choices that even add-on makers can do, because you can essentially build everything out of this. You can and the theme itself is also quite expandable because you can have multiple approaches to this dark-ish kind of magic that you see. And yeah, it's kind of awkward to describe.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I guess you kind of get the concept I'm trying to
Right.
explain.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff involved in that. Like, there's world gen, like you have your marble, which is another thing that people get angry about because they're like, "Oh, I get quark and chisel marble too." Um,
Lots
th-
of marble.
yeah, there's a lot of types of marble now. Um, especially now that Project Red's also on 110. Um,
Oh yeah, another marble.
yeah. Did you just want to make decorative blocks for the fun of it, or is that an idea for progression?
Um, so the decorative block idea kind of ties together with the design I originally had in mind for the mod that I still couldn't really put into place. Um, so kind of all these magic mods have a quote unquote definitive theme where you can kind of put them into. And I kind of originally wanted to try a Roman Greek-ish theme, kind of in that direction, which didn't really play out that well yet, but I'm trying, and I will continue to try in the future, maybe a bit more. So marble was a very definitive choice there, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, and again, then you can build multiple varieties out of it, like the pillars, the arches, and so on, to kind of design structures even just out of like one type of block, I would say. And how should I phrase this? Well, I don't know. It's like having a definitive point would really help in like tying to your previous question, having a definitive time point or a surrounding theme around your mod theme where you can put it into, even like, let's say, just world history if you want to bind to this, is kind of helpful, as it like gives away a bit of your like where you can build onto something existing. That helps a lot.
Yeah, and you have a journal in the mod that ties together a lot of the documentation. Does that help with finding a theme?
It's hard to say. Since the journal itself is a whole other like part of the mod, kind of, due to its like complexity and something I wanted to do a bit Thaumcraft-ish. So the journal itself was only like the part. Okay, so I had to display a huge majority of content into some format that a user is kind of familiar with. And I didn't want to go the Botania or Guide API approach where I would just throw a bunch of categories together you can click through. I kind of don't know. I kind of wanted to do something a bit more engaging. And so yeah, I have played a couple of games that had these kinds of, I would say, navigation systems to kind of look around all of your world or quote unquote civilization. So that's where that idea came from.
The interface is like a mix of Thaumcraft, the Thaumonomicon, and also Galacticraft. I remember, with the whole scrolling elements you have going on.
Well, yeah, kudos to the person who can find where I picked that from, because it's not Galacticraft.
Oh man.
Close enough thematically.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And you have the art of the mod is done by wiiv, right?
Yeah, but wiiv, who does also the art for Botania and Psy and so on.
So how did you go about getting their help?
I originally asked him like, hey, I'm doing this and that mod. At the time where I was where I didn't have that much quote unquote content as I have now, I showed him everything I had. Like, hey, this is the way it looks now. This is how my textures look like, which were really pitiful. I'm not good at making like block textures and things. So I approached him and asked, like, hey, I'm doing this and that mod, it's this and that theme. He was very interested, like, from what I can remember at least. And yeah, then made a video about the whole mod, and it kind of worked out, I guess.
And do you think that's helped you realize the mod now that you have like a artist working on it with the textures and everything?
Well, as I said, I did some textures myself at the beginning, and but yeah, it really, really helps, or it really, really helped me, and because I'm a kind of, I would say, awkward person where I don't really appreciate anything I make myself. So I don't know, I really appreciate any kind of feedback that I get, even if it's feedback like, hey, this and that really, really sucks. I mean, if it's good or bad feedback, it always helps improve content or find issues, even gameplay wise, or directly just crashing or whatever. So feedback is really, really important. And so if you do all your item textures, block textures yourself, and in contrast to me actually be satisfied with them, it is still great having another person look at it, or well, yeah, in my case, have a really, really amazing artist who does the things for you.
Yeah, and I think it benefits the mod a lot because it has a nice look around it, as it should, for what it does, which is nice. And you recently ported it to 111, right?
Yeah.
Why did you decide to do that? I mean, I ask because there's kind of the split right now in Minecraft, modern Minecraft, where there's the thermal expansions and the
Mm.
FTP Beyond stuff that's on 110, and then there's lots of authors like Vasky with Quark, Elpec, Elucent, who have focused on 111 as well. So there's this divide between people who want to stay on 110 and people who are on 111. Are you gonna try to cross-develop across those two versions?
I'm currently supporting both versions, so everything I do in 110, I'm also going to constantly port to 111 and back and forth, which certainly adds to the work. But well, there is. I don't. How should I say this? A lot of people really do want 111, and then the all the mods they want to play with are on 110. So supporting both versions and kind of try to help like cross the bridge until the bigger mods that have more focus of the community get ported. I don't know. I think that's kind of important, and they're also, even if I don't really like them and don't actively build on them or support them, there are still the libraries that, for example, McJitty provides, the compat layer and similar.
Mm-hmm. And do
Um,
you find yourself using Compat Layer?
I thought about it. I ultimately decided against it because it wouldn't really help me very much, because you will still end up with having the same issues as you're porting yourself, because you like something might work on 110 and then it doesn't work on 111, and you can't really reproduce it without constantly switching between versions.
Mm-hmm.
So you will need to, and you would end up doing the work twice anyway.
Yeah, hopefully that's gonna get easier. Because I think 112 is gonna be a tough version for modders, but that's good in another way because it means 111 could just be like 17 maybe, or it could be
Mm.
the new resting point for a bit, which would be good to finally have a lot of major new mods on one version at last.
112 is going to be kind of awkward. It will impact different mods differently, because from what the rumor says, 112 is going to have massive changes on the tile entity system. So simpler or smaller mods are gonna have a way easier time updating, and depending on the changes, it will then depend on what the mod does or how its architecture looks like, which will ultimately determine how good or how bad it will be to bring it to 112.
So for now, are you just waiting to see what 12 will be before deciding what to do with that?
I will definitely just wait how 112 will play out, then see what Forge will additionally provide to kind of help the jump, or if Forge does anything. And depending on that, I guess also other developers will either choose to make the jump, or will either make a completely new mod or just stay on 111.
Mm-hmm.
And I always think making a completely new mod will really, like with a different design than you tried before, kind of would help to get a different perspective on certain things, such as gameplay or overall design, how you can make users engage with the whole mod a bit more. Or yeah.
Mm-hmm. And there's some big plans you also have for the way the mod's gonna work, but the progression here that are gonna be you're gonna work on in the future. Is that right?
Yeah, I do want to. From what now the mod looks like, you will need to progress a lot to then in the end achieve very little. And I kind of want to accelerate the whole pace of the mod to either make it possible to really progress very fast through the mod and then have a vast majority of options available you can do at the same time, or progress more slowly and get through all the bits and pieces and to the side while you're doing so. So it's always the question between, do you have progression, or how does the progression in your mod look like? And then balancing off of it and rewarding the player for doing things is an important part.
Mm-hmm. And how, like, functionally, how complete do you think the mod is in its current state?
In its current state, not at all. I have more and more things planned, and there will definitely be more stuff to come in the future. But well, it all takes its time to be developed, and yeah, that's all I can say to that. I don't really want to spoil that much, actually.
Okay.
But yeah, additionally to that, I also have another project coming up for 1.11, which I don't think it will hit rather soon, but yeah, it will have, once it finishes, and I hope it finishes before 1.12 or a later version gets the majority of people, I would say. It will have a big impact. I don't want to spoil what it is.
Okay, but it's another mod?
Yeah, it is another mod.
Okay.
And yeah, it's been worked on for quite a while, and I think it will be pretty good.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, that's definitely something to look forward to in the future. And thank you for coming on today again. Do you have any more like closing thoughts besides that tease?
I do want to refrain from having this. I thought about what I wanted to say initially. I do want to refrain from this as the current ongoing things with Beyond are already enough to think and talk about, I would say.
Okay,
So
fair enough.
yeah,
Cool.
that's that.
Yep. So, thanks for coming on again. Thank you everyone for watching on YouTube or listening as a podcast, which you can do both of those things on iTunes, Google Play, and YouTube. And see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Bye.
Hey everyone, quick note after the show. Thank you to all of my patrons on Patreon. If you want to join them, people like Seth who support me, then feel free to check out my Patreon in the video description. And also Notecraft, amazing Minecraft host. They sponsor my channel and my mod packs with the server, which is soon to come for all of you guys to play on, and they are great. You can check out the link in the description for 15% off your first month with Notecraft. They are a great host. They have a custom control panel, really easy to install mod packs, any mod you want. It's awesome. The great support. I love them. If you want to do that, then feel free to check out that link. Thanks, and see you in the next one.